There are certain UFC fighters who are very unpredictable when they fight, where they have pulled off some of the most impressive victories in the UFC. So here is 10 unorthodox fighters in the UFC. Number 10. Lambda Vennett has delivered many action-packed fights since joining the promotion in 2016. Lambda Vennett is known for his wild, unorthodox fighting style, where he has pulled off some crazy techniques inside the octagon. We saw his unorthodox techniques in full action when he faced Tony Ferguson at UFC Final 91. In the fight, he threw a number of wild spinning back kicks, spinning back fists, completely catching Tony Ferguson off guard. In his 4 fights he has had in the UFC, he has delivered nothing but non-stop action in his fights, where his style is certainly made for putting on a show for the fans. Number 9. Sean O'Malley has been making noise in the bantamweight division, where he has put on a striking clinic against his opponents. His fighting style is very unpredictable, and he likes to throw a number of various different strikes. He likes to keep his opponents guessing, and the belief he has in his abilities has helped him push forward towards the victory. His length and size has made it difficult for his opponents to initiate their game plan, where he's just one step ahead. Sean O'Malley is just beginning his UFC career, where it'll be interesting to see how he progresses in the weight class. Number 8. Stephen Thompson has always been a very tough puzzle to sort out, as he is so unpredictable inside the octagon. He has incorporated a number of different unorthodox techniques to his fighting style, which has helped him surge up the rankings. He normally likes to switch stances in his fights, and always has his opponents on the back foot. This was seen when he dismantled Johnny Hendricks at UFC Final 82, where in the fight he just overwhelmed him with his kicking game and forced a TKO finish. Stephen Thompson is a very difficult fighter to figure out, and is certainly one of the best welterweights in the UFC. Number 7. Lyoto Machida has always had a very unorthodox style of fighting, which has often confused his opponents. With a traditional background in karate, he has used his knowledge to accurately time his strikes with so much precision, where he has finished his opponents immediately with a single strike. This was seen most particularly in his last fight against Vitor Belfort at UFC 224, where he was able to bait Vitor Belfort in and threw a thunderous front kick to his face, knocking him out cold. Lyoto Machida is a very crafty veteran who has plenty of ways to execute unorthodox techniques into his fights. Number 6. Conor Mcgregor has always had a range of different strikes in his back pocket, which has helped him set up the knockout. In his fights, he likes to use his lead hand as a measuring stick, where once he has the range set, in an instant he is able to close the distance quickly and land his finishing blow. Other unorthodox techniques he has in his game is a front leg hook kick, which he used against Dustin Poirier at UFC 178. He also uses a variety of spinning kicks and back kicks, which he has executed perfectly. Conor McGregor's confidence in his abilities has helped him achieve massive things in his MMA career. Number 5. Uriah Hall has put his dynamic kickboxing skills into action, where he has put together some stunning performances in the UFC. His fighting style involves many unorthodox kicks, where he has been able to stun his opponents. His most shocking finish was when he knocked out Adam Sella by a spinning hook kick on The Ultimate Fighter. He was able to stun Gegard Mousasi with the jumping back kick and finished him off with the flying knee, causing one of the biggest upsets in the UFC. Uriah Hall is very unpredictable when he fights, and can pull off an upset at any time. Number 4. Zabit Magomedsharipov has just put on a spectacle since joining the promotion not long ago. His arsenal is full of unorthodox techniques and has had his opponents overwhelmed by his creativity. In his UFC debut, he basically threw the kitchen sink at his opponent Mike Santiago at UFC Final 115. In the fight, he threw a number of different kicks, eventually finishing him by a rear naked choke. In the 3 fights he has had in the UFC, I believe he's only shown a tiny bit of what he's truly capable of. It's really exciting to think where his potential could take him in the UFC. Number 3. Yair Rodriguez is known for just pushing himself to the absolute limit in order to execute wild striking techniques in his fights. The creativity in his striking skills is just on a whole different level, where he has pulled off techniques which no fighter would execute. In his fight with Charles Rosa, he threw a jumping switch kick which caught Charles Rosa off guard, and he also threw a bunch of other crazy kicks which had his opponent guessing throughout the fight. The confidence he has in his abilities has helped him rise through the rankings, where his potential is just at an all-time high. Number 2. Anderson Silva has just been putting together a highlight reel of stunning finishes using a number of different unorthodox techniques he has mastered over the years. One performance that sticks out the most is when he flattened Vitor Belfort with a brutal front kick to the face, dropping him like a sack of potatoes. He has turned his deadly Muay Thai skills into something you would see in movies. The way he was able to finish Forrest Griffin at UFC 101 was just mind-boggling. Anderson Silva is dangerous even when moving back. A good example of this was when he front kicked Michael Bisping in the face at UFC Final 84. Anderson Silva has had one of the best careers in the UFC, where he reached the highest peak of accomplishments. Number 1. Jon Jones has always been known for pulling off next level techniques which his opponents never see coming. He is a master of throwing his signature spinning elbow and has incorporated a number of different techniques to help him get his hands raised. The most unorthodox technique that he uses the most is the oblique kick, which has stopped his opponents in their tracks. He has a whole range of different tricks up his sleeve to always have his opponents guessing. Even on the ground he is no slouch. He has pulled off submissions against Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts, which is no easy thing to do. Jon Jones is one of the most well-rounded fighters on the roster, where there seems to be no end to his potential.